And what's up? Welcome in. It is GC Live Tuesday episode of the show. Wes Mitchell here, Chris Clark. Chris, are you? Do you have a little new addition coming in on the background? Is that what?
That's been there before. It's been there
Is it
before.
a new angle we're looking at you? Maybe.
It's actually a slightly different angle, and the reason I don't fully display it, it's actually my wife's diploma, and her diploma is more impressive than mine, and so I don't want to show it because
Okay,
it'll hurt my feelings.
fair enough. He is Chris Clark. I am Wes Mitchell. This is GC Live, as always, presented by our good buddy Clint Hammond of the Mortgage Network. If you're in the market for a new home or you maybe want to refinance, see what your options are. NMLS number 71597. See Hammond at mortgagenetwork.com. 803-576-4450. As always, we appreciate our good buddy Clint Hammond for being our presenting sponsor now and forever on GC Live. He doesn't know about that forever part, but we're just going to go ahead and lock him in to a lifetime deal, much like I guess Bruce Pearl got with the Auburn men's basketball program this week. Welcome in Tuesday episode. A lot going on GamecockCentral.com. I don't know if there's a lot going on in Gamecock Nation necessarily like today, but huge day for us as we make the move to On3 Sports. Lots of excitement, though, from the Gamecock Central readers and supporters. It's been really, really cool to see how many people have already switched over from one network to the other. And Chris, dude, we're excited. We're pumped. I want to start by saying, like we are fully aware that it's not the most ideal way to like switch over from one platform to another, right? You know, if we had it our way, it would just be automatic for everybody. It would just slide over. But fortunately, that's the way it works when you're on a network. If, for example, we were with Rivals right up until midnight. Legally, there's not really anything that can be said until midnight, and doing the dollar deal was what we felt was the easiest way and most fair way to try and give everybody an easy landing spot onto the new platform without being able to just automatically transfer it over. So wanted to make sure we said that first, Chris. But man, we are excited about not only the present but also the future with the On3 Sports Network.
Yeah, it's been awesome. A really cool platform, and we're really excited about, Wes being able to take our team at Gamecock Central, being able to take our community of really loyal, awesome Gamecock fans that have been with us for so long, and hopefully some new people, right, that have maybe used to be a member, have never given us a try for whatever reason. This gives them an entry point, a new site. Maybe for some reason they didn't like our old site, they didn't like me, whatever it may be. Come on in and join us. And now we get to merge that with the On3 Network, which is going to give us some really cool, I think, Wes, technological tools and just a great user experience for our members at GamecockCentral.com. The thing that stands out to me is exactly what you said. I've been really humbled and honored by just the response of our members and people trying us for the first time, following us over to a new platform. And you're exactly right. We wish it could have just switched over automatically. We could have given everybody a huge, here's exactly how things are going to work and how it will work. But there are some things that contractually prevented that. So honored and humbled by how many people have jumped in. The response has been amazing. The Insiders Forum on the new website is absolutely hopping. Great content up already. Exciting times, man.
Yeah, it is exciting. And Chris, worth pointing out, first and foremost, the dollar is so our subscribers who are moving over from the original Gamecock Central on Rivals can get moved over because we can't just transfer over the time paid for on the other site. But also, it is an opportunity if you're one of those GC livers who has been like, I love the show. Hey, I like the show. Or, hey, I'm mediocre about, I feel average about the show. As long as you don't hate the show, then this is your opportunity to come on over. $1 for the first year. and check it out. Come on, try it out. It's 1 year. It's an entire year for $1. So
And
you get a hat.
you get a hat.
And you get to hang out with Chris Clark on the forums all day. He's already made 3,000 posts on there, I think.
I'm trying to respond to as many people I can because, again, it's been so awesome to see how many people have jumped in. Wes, do you remember in the not the earliest days of GC Live, kind of in the midst of it, we had that promo a while back, and it was $12 for a year. And it was $12, right? I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And a lot of people jumped in. That was really cool. And a lot of those people have stayed with us. I've seen several new people on the website that either originally found us on GC Live and came with us to GamecockCentral.com and have now moved over with us. And I've even seen some people who have subscribed for the first time to GamecockCentral.com on this new platform from GC Live. So that's super awesome. Like you said, man, this is a deal. By the way, this isn't going to be normal. There's not going to be another $1 deal. I think we can confidently say ever. And we've gotten the question, when is it going to expire? We don't know. Let's not leave it to chance. Go ahead, jump in, get on first year for $1. I think you'll be hooked. Hopefully both sides will be hooked on each other. Sounds a little weird, but let's just go with it.
That's one way to say it, Chris. The link should be up on YouTube and Facebook now. And yes, I mean, I should say this very carefully. So I'm not going to tell anyone to cancel the old site. Like, that's up to you. I'm not going to say cancel the other, cancel right. I'm not going to tell anyone that. There are some questions about, well, should I can't? That's completely up to you. But if for people asking, does it automatically cancel on the old platform because I signed up on the new platform? The answer is absolutely not. There's nothing automatic. So, again, part of the reason I know some of you, like maybe you already bought you've got 6 months left on your subscription on the South Carolina Rivals site. You will still get your 6 months for whatever content they put out. And then when you kick in your $1 on our side, hopefully you'll get an entire year of what we have. And from what I've seen, they're throwing out 3 free months additional on the Rivals platform as well. So, and I say that just to say, like, nobody here is trying to like gyp anybody. Hopefully if you add all that up, you're getting a lot of content for like cheaper than you would have been just being a regular subscriber on the original platform. Chris, we do want to talk some actual sports today as well. But if people have questions about the new site, obviously, I figured this show and the fact that we have a very interactive audience and it's a very easy way for us to instantly respond to people. It's a good way for us to kind of make sure everybody's set. If you're having trouble getting on there, like you've subscribed and you're having an issue, we've been told log out, log back in. A lot of times on these subscription sites, I don't know if it's the cookies or exactly what it is from a tech standpoint, Chris, but it seems to me like anytime you go from being a non-member to a member or vice versa on these different platforms, it takes your browser a second to like register the fact that, oh, this person is supposed to have access to this. If you log out, log back in, that should help. If that doesn't work, I actually had somebody else tell me they were still having the issue. They changed their password and that cleared out whatever needed to clear out to get them on there. So that's 2. If you continue to have an issue, throw it in the chat. Shoot us an email. I'm Wes at GamecockCentral.com. Chris, yours is Clark at GamecockCentral.com. We are here to help. I promise we'll do everything we can to get back to you quickly, but we will definitely get back to you. Football-wise, man, it is so weird. Tomorrow is National Signing Day. So we've been told. And there probably, Chris, won't even be a National Signing Day article on the front page of Gamecock Central. And that's not because like we're being lazy or anything. That's because literally South Carolina completed their recruiting for the most part during the early period, during that time period after the early signing period with transfers, and then the class will truly be finished after spring practice. But I know it's been trending this direction for a long time. But I mean, we are here, like that this is weird.
It is. I mean, obviously when the early signing period came in 2018, it really flipped and changed the way that, the recruiting calendar was structured. And there were some changes to the actual calendar, but that was the biggest one. It just really accelerated things. You remember back then, Wes, we were like, are a bunch of kids going to sign in the early period? Will some of them wait till later? Most of them signed early. And that has really continued, right? All throughout, you see more and more kids enroll early, but you even see kids who are, planning on enrolling in the summer. They go ahead typically, for the most part, the majority of those also sign early, and the coaches want that, and a lot of the players want that as well. So that's continued with the advent of the one-time transfer rule, the transfer portal. That's just accelerated all that, because now you're in a place where you're getting, all your high school players, your JUCO players signing in December, and then you've got transfer portal additions, sometimes a lot of them. That's what we've seen from South Carolina in the past 2 classes under Shane Beamer, and that really fills out your class to where when you get in February, typically you're not going to have a lot of guys left over from the high school ranks. Even the guys that haven't been announced, the transfer portal guys, the hay's in the barn. They're on campus. They've started with the team. They're working out. Shane Beamer is going to have a signing day press conference tomorrow, but that's just to kind of go over some things he's already talked about from December, talk about some of the new guys. And he's even, in the course of that, Wes, going to formally introduce Sterling Lucas, who was obviously his replacement hire for Mike Peterson. So it is really interesting. I mean, we've had a lot of stuff on our radar, Wes, here at Gamecock Central, with the move to On3 being the biggest one. Signing day has not really been on it. And this is probably the lightest February signing day that I can ever recall, since we started having 2 a few years ago.
Do you think this will be the norm? I mean, I think it's going to be the norm that it's going to be lighter. Like, obviously, you don't have to be a savant to figure that out. Like, it's pretty obvious at this point. But wouldn't you think most years there'll be at least one guy that we're keeping an eye on going into signing day?
Yeah.
I mean, for a minute there, it looked like EJ Lightsey was going to be the sort of one remaining high school guy we'd be watching. I'm a little surprised some transfer portal guys haven't sort of used this signing day as like an announcement time period, but it's actually so late compared to when most schools, including South Carolina, start their spring semester, that it doesn't really work out as like an announcement time period for portal guys. So, unless you're just the late decision guy, or a lot of times either you've blown up late or a coach has left, so you're kind of in limbo a little bit. Most guys are locking in their spots, and most coaches are saying, hey, if you're committed to us and you're not signing, they're probably saying we're going to keep recruiting your position. So now everybody kind of just has decided it makes the most sense to go ahead and lock in.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of coaches, high school coaches that I've spoken with, that have guys that aren't, your no-brainer Power 5, everybody has offered them. If you have some of those as a high school coach, there's been a lot of concerns in that, transfer portal recruiting is really kind of hurting that lower level kid, because, we have, like you said, Wes, we've kind of passed that window for transfer portal guys, to where now, with the timing of when classes start, now the next transfer portal activity is going to be post spring. Everybody's going to get through spring ball. You're going to see some guys depart South Carolina's program. You're going to see guys depart other programs, and kind of see how it all comes out in the wash. But unless you have those couple guys that have been 1 to 2 guys at most places that are on the high school radar. There aren't many of them. Typically you're going to be done at this point in February if you're taking a lot of transfers. I am more curious, Wes, is this going to be the norm for South Carolina in terms of their transfer numbers? Is it going to be, I don't know, what's 5 guys every cycle that are transfers, incoming transfers for South Carolina? Certainly, I thought that we wouldn't see as high of a number as we saw this year after the last cycle, right? Shane Beamer's first class, smaller class in terms of the high school and junior college aspect, and then lots of transfers. But we actually saw a pretty decently high number of transfers this year too. One reason being they had some extra spots to play with.
Yeah, Chris, I was doing JB and Goldwater's show. Obviously, they're every day doing a fantastic job. I normally do them on Monday. I was doing them today instead, and they were talking about the junior days and how South Carolina now has a full cycle to actually build relationships with kids. And what do we know so far as the 2023s, the 2024s? Can South Carolina land a top class, et cetera, et cetera? All the natural questions you would ask this time of year. My answer, and I'm going somewhere with this, my answer was that I think South Carolina is at the table with a lot of these guys. Now, some guys want to go ahead and decide, but there's a huge section of 2023s and certainly the 2024s, I should say, that are kind of going through the process, not of where do I want to go. I feel like they're sort of in the process of who are the 4 or 5 schools that I'm really going to consider, and then the big trend now is take some early summer official visits. That's a huge trend for guys right now. And so I think for South Carolina right now, you look at the number of guys that they had on campus. You look at the number of guys that will be on campus in the spring, or at least have said they're going to visit or have told the staff they're going to visit. There are some really talented players in those groups. The question then becomes, and you can't predict this yet, time will tell, how many of those guys will South Carolina be able to close and get? How many of those guys just completely blow up and end up being like an Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, who's who type battle? And let's be honest, percentages don't look the Gamecocks' way a lot of times in those. So to me, getting back to your portal thing, I think especially if these guys have success that are coming in from the portal this year, because it is a much different profile of player as far as them being widely known, than what they brought in the year before. Do they have success? And if so, I think you really you almost give yourself an opportunity to shoot very high in the high school class and just go sort of for your top guys. And if you sign one of these classes, like we've seen South Carolina, frankly, just very few times in their history, but they have done it a couple times where they've signed these like top 10 type classes where you're like, that's a foundation building class. If you hit on that, awesome, right? Like that's your hope. But if you don't, you have the portal almost as your backup plan, but it's a very good backup plan.
It's a very good backup plan, and it gives you that flexibility because, you're probably going to go into every cycle saying, we've talked about this before. It used to be you would plug holes by, well, we got to land an impact freshman, or let's go grab a JUCO guy and hope he pans out. Well, now you can say we're a little short here, or, we need to bring in another guy. We need to get better here. Now you can use the portal to do that. So you're probably going to go into most cycles saying, even if it's 1 or 2 guys, hey, let's look at these positions. Let's see if anybody pops up in the portal. But now you can use it that way to supplement, or you can use it to fill out a class and get some difference maker types. It's a great point that you made, Wes, on just kind of the the caliber of guys, right, that South Carolina had, transfer in. I mean, you had last year, and look, these guys helped South Carolina win, right? Jordan Strong, Georgia State, Carlin Splatel from our guy Mike Yuva's Assumption. You had the St. Francis duo. You had Tyrese Ross from Washington State, David Spalding for Georgia Southern, Marion Brown, Georgia Tech. This year, your highest profile guys is you get 2 from Oklahoma. You get 1 from Georgia, who is a 4-star running back. Like, you have up that level in the transfer portal. And this staff is, they have some relationships. They built some relationships. They've missed on some guys in the 2021 class and the 2022 class. And we know that recruiting is a relationship-driven business. It's also got some business behind the business. Very not a good way for me to say that. Point is, sometimes you miss on a guy and he's going to go somewhere else. If it doesn't work there and you've done a good job recruiting him, you might get a call. And so that's why it's wise to work the portal, to do a really good job with your relationships, because then, if a guy goes somewhere and it doesn't work out or he's not liking it, you're apt to get a call. And then that's a way that you can fill a transfer portal spot, but also a transfer portal spot that's maybe not a 1-year guy. Maybe it's a 4-year guy, 3-year guy that can really, really help your team.
Definitely, man. Let's before we go back to this conversation, let's hit on a couple more of these questions. John R. Wilson on Facebook asking, do you have to join online? Is there an address to mail to or a phone number to call? I'm going to be honest, John, you're probably going to be a lot better off. Just it's a pretty easy sign-up process, but if you want to email me, email Chris, if you have any issues, we'll help you walk through it. I don't think there's a way to mail. Maybe there still is, Chris, but I don't know that answer.
No, you can give them your address, especially if it's hate mail, send it to Wes Mitchell. But no, I mean, GamecockCentral.com will get you there. There's a big banner with the promo. You can click on that. Wes also dropped the link here on the YouTube and the Facebook page, I believe, right, Wes?
Yeah, it should be there.
So GamecockCentral.com on your phone, desktop, tablet. You should see it right at the top. You can just click subscribe, enter your credit card, debit card information. Boom, you'll get signed up. And if you got any issues, Clark at GamecockCentral.com will be glad to help you out with that.
And Henry Marty Martin says he's having an issue trying to do the one-click link save to the Insiders Forum on your Apple home screen. That, Henry, is an issue I had as well. That is a known issue with the platform the forums are on. It's called Zenforia. It's a known bug with them. They're hoping to get that fixed. So there's obviously, you know what you're doing. You're not doing anything wrong. Hopefully that will be something that's fixed as well, because I'm having the same issue on mine. Ethan wants to know what happened to linebacker from Virginia. I'm assuming he's talking about West Weeks. He committed to LSU. Randy said he has 0 social media skills and everything is working fine on the new site. I'm very, very glad to hear that. He wants to know if we can talk barbecue and coleslaw. I'll say this, man, not to give a somewhat of a competitor a reason for y'all to go click, but I did find it very interesting that the state newspaper is doing a barbecue contest. Did you see this, Chris?
I did not see that.
They're doing an online, say who you think's the best barbecue in the Midlands. So
that will get contentious.
Yes. And the thing is, Ben Briner doesn't even work for the state anymore. Like I would have assumed when he was there,
he was behind that. Yeah.
He'd be the one to push that. But
are you gonna
that's gonna cause some fights.
It is. Are you gonna reveal your vote right here publicly on the show?
Right here, right now? No.
Okay.
I gotta see what my options are on there. Hopefully they include everybody.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Ones, right?
There's going to be some rage if certain people are not included, and I think we're on the same page about who those certain people may be.
Yes, they better include everybody. I'll say that. T wants to know if we will stream Beamer's press conference. We will not stream it. We will post it afterwards. But you know what? USC probably. I'll take that back, T. We probably will not stream it. USC probably will, and we will embed it. So same difference. So yeah, we'll have it. No, Scout Guy says no last minute surprises. You can never actually 100% rule anything out. We didn't know South Carolina was getting Tanner Bailey at the end, at the final day, final hours of the early signing period. To be completely honest, we didn't know that was coming at all when that welcome home went out. So there's always a chance. But nothing, there is no article written in the admin right now with any type of surprise like that. There is, however, on Gamecock Central a really cool exclusive story with Shane Beamer. So another reason for you to spend $1. Gregory, we were hoping that On3 will splurge to get Chris another Sidney Rice poster. I don't know, maybe a Steve Tannehill poster, a Marcus Lat, some type of poster.
That'd be cool.
Craig says Oreos or chocolate chip. I'm chocolate chip cookie guy all the way. So I like Oreos. Don't get me wrong. I love the fried Oreos at the fair. But in a vacuum, give me chocolate chip cookies.
I would agree.
Most every day of the week, unless I'm just craving Oreos. Let's see what else y'all got. Go out and win 9 or 10 games this year, and recruiting becomes a little bit easier. Well, yeah. Is that the expectation?
That is. So I think this is going to sound weird. I think there's a downside of potentially of outperforming expectations like early on, you even think about, and it's not the same, right? I'm not comparing, but a local example that's good is, Will Muschamp's first 2 years, right? It had all the appearances of things being on track. There were some things in there that were obvious concerns like the offense, but the reality is the team in 2015 won 3 games, then they won 6, and then they won 9. And so you go, okay, this is on track. Well, then they won 6, and then they won 4, and then they won 2. And so winning 9 games in year 2 was really something that set the bar to where, okay, it needs to be this or right there, in year 3, year 4. And so with Beamer, some people may walk away with, okay, year 1 was 7 wins. There's a natural progression of there needs to be a next step in that. I don't know that it necessarily has to get to that mark for us to sit back after the year next season. That's a long way away, obviously. I don't think they have to win 9 or 10 games for us to be able to say there's more progress here on the field, in recruiting. I'm still of the mind that given the schedule and where this team is at, I think 9 or 10 wins is a tough ask, just in my opinion, and it's pretty early. I don't know if I don't have a good sense of like the temperature of what the fan base thinks right now. Some people may be so fired up from how the year ended that they've convinced themselves that 9 or 10 wins is around the corner. I would probably pump the brakes on that just in terms of going into this year expecting that, though.
Well, man, as we know, it all depends on game to game as well. And what I mean by that is that we can look at the season from a big picture standpoint, but who knew that like the Florida team South Carolina ended up facing wasn't really necessarily at all the caliber of the Florida team you would have thought South Carolina might face just going into the season. Auburn, who really knew what to expect, but South Carolina hadn't beaten Auburn in like 1,000 years, and then they beat them 2 years in a row. It's kind of so weird things happen, but on paper, we do as fans and as media. Patrick says I expect no less than 11 regular season wins. Woo, Patrick, it's a mouthful, buddy. We expect and hope that it's like this, right? That it's going to be just this natural progression. Really, that's not how sports are. It's going to be this, and even within a season, it's this. Even within a game, it's this. It's always going to be up and down, and you never quite no matter how much you think you have it figured out, you never quite have it figured out. Brian McGuffey, excellent point, man. Gamecocks need to start beating Missouri and Kentucky on the regular. That's always been a key to South Carolina having successful seasons, is to consistently beat Vandy, Kentucky, Missouri, and then have a chance to beat Tennessee. Like that's from a number standpoint. If you're just going to look at it like counting wins, that's the key, I think, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I made that same point to somebody yesterday or today, I think, just kind of asking about season expectations. And I said, look, I think it's a little bit early to start talking about record and things like that. We haven't even seen any of South Carolina in spring practice, right? It's kind of hard to tell from that standpoint. We haven't seen and gotten a sense of what other schools that are on the 2022 schedule are doing. We have some general ideas about both, but just to me, not enough information. But I said, I thought that would be the next step. And that's the key. South Carolina's not done that enough lately. Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, make sure you take care of business against Vanderbilt. These are the type of things that you have to do to be able to get to that 8-9 win mark. And South Carolina had some of those measuring stick games last year. They were still able to get to a bowl game. They still got to 7, which was a great accomplishment. But those games we just mentioned, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, they dropped all those games. Haven't had a lot of success in those series lately. And so that's something that definitely needs to change as a starting point before you start thinking about making that upward move towards a Florida or a Georgia. Like these are the type of things that you have to do. And I know South Carolina beat Florida last year, struggling Florida team, but just in general with where the programs are with talent, the logo, all these types of things, I think you have to make sure you take care of that bottom to middle part of the SEC East first.
Definitely, man. So you had the chance to speak to Josh Vann. I would encourage everybody to go check out that video on GamecockCentral.com. It's on YouTube.com/GamecockCentral as well. And we debuted that today. It was actually, that interview was late last week, I guess. It's all run together, y'all. I mean, everything's run together at this point. We debuted it today. And some really good stuff from Josh, though. I think you got a little bit of a peek at who Josh Vann is off the field, and you got a little bit of a peek at the personality. He showed that before this past season as well, when he did the media gaggle where he sort of opened up. I think that was the first time I've really seen him like open up about kind of struggling to get on the field at the beginning, the guys he was playing behind, the injuries, all the different things. But Chris, I would encourage everybody to go give it a listen, give it a watch, because I think Josh should be in a position to have another big season. And man, just to see, and I don't even have kids, and I know you, Chris, obviously have 2 daughters, but just watching Josh, like, you could just like feel him like lighting up when he was talking to you about having a kid, and his daughter was born in December, and just kind of how everybody was kind of clowning him a little bit, talking about how he's a big kid, but now he's a dad. But I don't know, man. It seems like when people become a father, they start talking different. It's like it's just different, I guess. So that was really cool to listen to Josh, and he talked about a lot of different things with you, man.
He did. Great conversation. Again, a Garnet Trust, production there, and another 360 Clean funded venture through Garnet Trust. So we appreciate
360 Clean setting the bar, by the way.
Setting the bar. And so that the first of a few interviews that we'll have with Josh Vann throughout this year, which is really cool. He's also going to be putting on a camp this spring for some underprivileged children as part of that arrangement. So again, really cool stuff happening with NIL. Glad for Josh to get that opportunity. And yeah, it was a great talk with him, man, just to hear kind of his like progression is the best word I can think of from, this is a guy that we covered in high school, Wes. I remember being at Tucker High in Georgia during that early signing period in 2018 when he signed with the Gamecocks and went to a few different schools in Atlanta. Josh Vann, saw JC Horn, Devontae Wyatt. I went by his school just to check in to make sure nothing was going to change there. It didn't. So there are a lot of interesting things going on there. And Josh, I think we knew he had talent. And so it was really cool to see that really come to fruition this past year. And that was one of the things we really talked about, is not only, like you said, Wes, his daughter and how that kind of changed his perspective, but also just some of the struggles that he went through physically and mentally, in terms of what happened on the football field to where he didn't maximize his potential. The thing that stood out the most to me is I asked him, did you lose your love for the game? And he said he did, and it's pretty evident that it's back now. And so to hear them talk through that was really cool. So it's on the front page of GamecockCentral.com, on the On3 Network right now, or YouTube.com/GamecockCentral. Make sure you go check out that Garnet Trust interview funded by 360 Clean with Josh Vann.
Yeah, and a free interview for anybody to go watch. And man, we got so many different things cooking. It's busy, but it's exciting. Between Gamecock Central and On3 and the content we're going to be able to provide there, and then all the Garnet Trust stuff. Maybe even some more stuff going on that we can announce here pretty soon too, Chris. So
this is just the first.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that. Hey, Spencer Rattler is number 7. Did you know that?
I did see that. I did know that. A lot of people talking about that too. So the number is locked in. It is in place. Good stuff.
Spencer Rattler is a brand, man. It feels like getting the 7. I don't know. It was kind of because that photo leaked, I think, or a video or something leaked with the number 4 a couple of weeks ago. Now he is on campus, and I guess that's happened also since we've done a show. Spencer Rattler arrived Sunday evening, is with the team now officially. He's going to wear 7. Benjamin asking what numbers Amarian going to wear. Don't know that yet. I haven't seen that anywhere. But and Brandon says glad Doty keeps his number. Actually, I think, and I need to confirm this, show. I think Doty's going to wear 9. That was his number in high school. And when obviously Nick Muse had that number for Doty's first 2 years at South Carolina, but now that number was available. It wasn't like Rattler came in and took Doty's number and then took Brown. It's not like that at all. The guys rotate when numbers get available that they used to have. They take advantage of that, and I'm pretty sure Doty will probably wear 9. It would be my guess. Which it is funny, man. People care about unis and jersey numbers, right?
People absolutely love that stuff. So lots of concern, lots of questions about the numbers. All is well with Spencer Rattler's number. Everybody can rest easy. So he will be wearing 7 spring ball.
That probably will be the most clicked story on the whole site today.
Yes. Will it surpass? If you took, Wes, a 5-second video of Spencer Rattler just wearing his jersey, would it surpass the Marshawn Lloyd footwork video?
I'm gonna say no, but it'd be close.
It'd be very close. That sounds like me on that answer.
It does sound like you, but they deleted that off TikTok. I reposted that on TikTok with some music, and they deleted it.
I noticed that. I went to go unearth it the other day, and the music was gone or whatever.
Yeah,
it was different.
It was that Eminem song.
I didn't like that. That wasn't cool
either. Hey, what else do y'all want to talk about? Somebody say something in the chat. Somebody asked, is Devontae Davis coming back for his final season, or does he have 2? The COVID stuff, though, I'm normally, Chris, I'm that guy that, like, for the most part, kind of knows exactly what class everybody's in. I have no idea anymore because the COVID stuff, the COVID year, and South Carolina doesn't include the COVID year if you go on their bio, so you have to add one. I mean, it's a mess. Not sure, I won't speak for Devontae. I don't know if he has not announced if he's going to use that final year or not.
He was a 5th-year senior in 2020, so he does have just the one more year. left should be accurate, Wes. So again, they're
Wait. A fifth-year senior this past season.
yes, that's what I was
2021.
trying to say. I probably botched that, but that's what I was attempting to say. So I'd say this: there are going to be some guys, and we've alluded to this in the past on the roster that there's going to be more attrition after the spring. None of that's confirmed. We don't have those names yet, but there will be more. And so just kind of wait and see if there are some guys that exiting the spring or maybe on the back end of their careers, and maybe they can find playing time at another place. Maybe you'll see some of those, but that's kind of me just speaking generally right now. There'll be a lot more answers to that type of stuff, after spring ball wraps in Columbia.
BMAC, where'd you go? BMAC Laps. Interesting name. Said, talk about the PWO we just got. You know what? Something we need to confirm there, Chris. I think this past Saturday, because somebody mentioned this to me in passing, it was a coach that had a player prospect who was going to possibly walk on at South Carolina. And they were going to visit South Carolina this past Saturday as well when I was talking to them last week. I think this was kind of like a preferred walk-on day almost that Saturday at South Carolina, which I haven't really heard of that being done in the past. I know as far as non-preferred walk-ons, I think today was the day of the meeting for current students who wanted to try out. Somebody hit me up, Chris, and said there were 90 guys at the meeting coming to try out. So that was an estimate, but it seems like there's a lot of guys wanting to come try out. And so you saw this little run of preferred walk-ons. And, I think a lot of people on our site do a really good job of if somebody's from this area, they've seen this guy play, or, they're, so you'll get some good feedback on guys like this. But man, DJ Black from Chapman, that's about as solid of a high school preferred walk-on, in my opinion, that you're going to ever get, because this kid is a really, really good high school football player. I guess there were some things that scared teams off. I don't know if it was just the speed or exactly what it was. Scared a couple teams off from scholarships. But, dude, this guy is a baller. So to add him as a PWO is pretty sharp.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an example of just trying to be resourceful, especially within your state, man. I mean, if you've got an opportunity to be able to recruit a guy to be a PWO like they have here with Black, very smart to do that. You don't want that guy to go, to a smaller school on scholarship when he was interested in coming to your school as a PWO, and you just kind of let it fall aside. No, PWO is very important. We've seen those at South Carolina make a difference. We've seen them at other schools, make a big difference. And so it's very important. This guy, I mean, very prolific. I mean, as a senior, looking up his stats right now, according to Max Reps, 79 catches for almost 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns at Chapman. So obviously had a really, really good career there in the upstate. Debo Samuels High School, of course.
Yeah, didn't he break Debo's single game record?
I think it was a single game record, yeah.
Golly. That's a mouthful, man. Like you said, I think you said this last week, there are some defense coordinators or former DCs that are still having Debo nightmares from when he was in high school. Randy asking about the linebacker. There's an offensive lineman that committed as a PWO as well. I'll be honest with you guys. We've sort of been swimming as far as all the amount of stuff going on. I haven't even reached out to try to get some stuff on those guys yet. But I think that would kind of be a neat story. I think it would be good to get all those guys listed in one place. Just so fans know who all's committed, because it is kind of hard to keep track of. And then maybe we'll try to get you all a little bit of info on, exactly what the word is on those guys. But PWOs, man, they can be important. And, you got to try to get local guys. You got to, at every level of your program, you have to try to add talent. And most PWOs are most of them going to end up starting at some point in their career? Of course not. But so, sometimes it happens. Jalen Foster is an example of a guy now as a transfer, a little bit different, but he comes in, walks on. My man's an All-American, so it can happen, and you just have to be diligent about continuing to add talent any way that you can, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some other guys out there that South Carolina's offered, have not landed yet. They've got a chance. I mean, there's kind of a preferred walk-on battle brewing with Chase Swigert from Chapin. He's a guy that's got a preferred walk-on from South Carolina. I think Virginia Tech's one. Penn State's definitely one. So now you got Penn State coming down to South Carolina trying to get – and Wes, I'm sorry, I've got to make fun of this. Preferred run-on. I mean, the cheesiness level of this is just off the charts. James Franklin at Penn State, preferred run-on. I can't go there.
Hold on.
Yes.
We can't go any further. That's the thing.
It is a thing.
Preferred run-on is his
it's
branded. That's his branded name for a preferred walk-on.
So it's a preferred walk-on, but because that's not good enough, and we need to be as cheesy and cliche as possible, it is a preferred run-on at Penn State. So anyway, point is Chase Swigert, really good player at Chapin, offensive tackle, and he's got kind of a PWO like battle, or a PRO, Penn State battle for his services. So South Carolina, obviously close to home. He was one of those guys that visited recently, had a really good visit. So we'll see what happens there. Some other walk-on candidates out there for South Carolina that would certainly be good ones to land. Eric Rice last year, from AC Flora, that was a really nice PWO pickup from South Carolina. So sometimes, Wes, if nothing else, just for practice, for scout team, having good athletes, special teams, even if they're not playing significant snaps on offense or defense, those guys can help make your program better.
Do you have a prediction on whether he's going to go to the PWO or the
Pro PR? I do not.
Okay.
No prediction yet.
All right. Randy says this is his last comment. Okay, man. I'm going to read it. You guys should plan a night event or chat like this the week of the spring game and try to break the record of the night Rattler committed. I don't know if we're going to be able to break that anytime soon, but that is something that's on the possible docket, is to do some different timing of stuff. I think that's something we would probably hand off to Mike Yuva, but yeah, doing some different game day streaming stuff, doing some nighttime streaming stuff, all that stuff is very, very possible. And there was a question earlier I didn't get to. Somebody asked, are Colin and Mike coming over with us? Absolutely. The entire Gamecock Central staff, which really, Chris, is pretty impressive. And I'm not even saying that to toot our own horns. I'm talking about, I'm giving Shu credit. It's pretty impressive whenever these sites move around and split off and all this stuff. Lots of times the staffs end up split up as well. So we're all still there. All the full-timers, all the walk-ons, all the scholarship.
The run-ons.
Yeah, everybody from interns to full-time to part-time, all the photographers, everybody from Gamecock Central is on the new platform as well. What final thoughts you got, Chris? Everybody's asking about Malik Heath.
Yep.
Tell you what, I can actually just push you to Gamecock Central, spend your $1, and you can read the latest on Malik Heath. But I won't do you like that because I'm going to assume y'all are going to sign up anyway. It's kind of I feel like it's kind of a holding pattern, Chris. South Carolina by all indications, had a really, really good official visit for Heath over the weekend. There's been some buzz out there, is he silently committed to Ole Miss? Is he already locked into Ole Miss? I'm aware of all that. Could he have told Ole Miss prior that he was going to come to Ole Miss? So that's certainly possible. But based on everything I heard from this weekend, I think South Carolina is firmly in it. Now, he also is going to take at least one, it seems like maybe two other visits. You'd imagine Ole Miss is probably one of those. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. He's not deciding anytime soon. That's still a position, Chris. I think there will be enough guys that hit the portal in the spring. South Carolina obviously would – they'd love to have Malik Heath, it seems. But if they miss, I think there will even then still be receivers available come post-spring.
Yep. And that's one of those positions, again, not like offensive line. We talked about that a lot, how those are tougher to find out of the portal. Not that wide receivers are dime a dozen, but there are typically more of them. And so Malik Heath would be a nice addition for South Carolina. I still think you have to approach that situation if you're South Carolina with some cautious optimism, right? Because of Ole Miss, Tennessee lurking out there. The visit did go extremely well, but I think you have to bake all that in and just not really count on it. But you do have, if you don't get them, you've got two spots of flexibility, and you have the spring and the possibility that some other guys go through spring ball at their current school and say, let me look around. That might be an opportunity for you to step in. One other thought, Wes, a couple other things I've seen in the comments I just wanted to hit on. People have asked about the welcome home, hasn't been revealed yet. And then people asked about DQ Smith for Spring Valley. He's actually going to count towards the next class, so he won't technically sign tomorrow. Last we heard, we don't expect any new signings, right, as of tomorrow's signing day. It's all guys that, they'll be talked about some, but they've already enrolled, as transfers at South Carolina.
Weird. Very weird.
It is.
Travis says, do we need another wide receiver? I say yes.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Not now, that doesn't mean you just take anybody. Just let's pick a guy from the transfer portal lottery and we don't really care, but I think finding a guy that can help you both this season and presumably, Malik Heath's a one-year guy, right? But if it's not him, finding a guy that can help you for more than just this season would be ideal. But that said, it has to be a guy that can help you at all. Like, you don't want to take a guy and just have him fill a roster spot. There's no need to do that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take guys just to take them, Travis. But if it's an instant impact, yes, because I think there's still questions there. And that's a position where you can bring in a guy who can make an instant impact. I think it's going to be tough to find an offensive lineman that can make an impact. But Travis says, how are you going to get the ball in the hands with so many playmakers? I mean, if that you will take that problem every single day over the alternative, which is not having enough playmakers to get the ball to. And I still there's not that one guy that teams really fear. So to me, it's going to be all about Vann, Antoine Wells, Jaheim Bell, whoever else you bring in. Can Xavier Legette continue to come on? To carry on, Marion Brown. I mean, there's talent. Nobody's saying there's not talent at that group, but you still need either a guy to just step up and be the person opposing teams fear, or you just have to be that team that can spread the ball around to so many different guys that they don't focus on any one person. So
I didn't have any additional thoughts on that. I don't know if you're waiting on me or not.
That's all I got today, though, folks. Chris, you good?
I'm good, man. I just want to say once again, no price of admission ever to GC Live. But please make today your price of admission. Give us a tip by going to GamecockCentral.com on the On3 platform. Put in $1, get a free Founders Club hat if you subscribe. as an annual subscriber and join us. Whole first year is $1. Come on board, get access to all our content, join the family. Lots of your Gamecock fan colleagues have already joined.
Randy is one of my favorite Gamecock Central readers and watchers. He says that the wheelchair prune juice race starts in 3 minutes, so he's got to go. Randy, we appreciate you, buddy. Randy's always supporting, by the way. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, T. Nick wants to know, will On3 have an app eventually? Do you know the answer to this question, Chris? It has popped up.
We had heard at one point that there were long-term plans for an app, but I don't want to give anybody a firm, yeah, it'll be at the end of this year or next year. We have heard that there are plans for it, but haven't gotten anything concrete on that. For now, we're just telling people, probably how the app would work would be very similar to the website anyway. So it flies. It's very fast on mobile, whether it's the actual website and the content on GamecockCentral.com or on the Insiders Forum. It moves very fast. It works very well. So we recommend just using that on your phone. Hopefully that issue where, if you're trying to make a shortcut to the forums, hopefully we'll get that squared away and corrected soon. But once it is, just put a shortcut on your for the Insiders Forum or just for GamecockCentral.com. Slap that on your phone, and that'll be really about as good as the app. That'll be everything that you need.
No doubt. He is Chris Clark. I am Wes Mitchell. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the support. Like Chris said at the beginning, it's been overwhelming just how much support there's been for Gamecock Central, and that's because of all of you. If you have any questions at all about the transition, don't hesitate. Reach out, social media, email, whatever. Wes at GamecockCentral.com, Clark at GamecockCentral.com. And at some point later on this week, we'll do another show. Can't tell you when, but we'll do one. For Chris, I'm Wes. Y'all have a good one.